All right. So basically what I'm going to do is, since now the party, we are going to be traveling by foot. So I am going to be doing kind of a little skipping ahead. We will have moments to stop for roleplay, for interactions. No worries about that. I just feel like it'll be easier than roleplaying every single day you guys are out here, because it's going to take probably almost a week to get back to Vaalguard. So you guys come to an area where it's near the very end of the lake, where it appears that a large dam has been constructed by the local wildlife. So you can see just logs and woods of all sorts holding back the water, though it is trickling out in many areas, causing like a little stream to go running through. Most curious of all, however, you notice that along certain parts closest to the dam, there are these gorgeous, almost flower-like blue crystals that are growing out of the ground, really out of the water where it is running. The air here feels like very refreshing, very crisp, like, you know, you kind of take a deep breath and all of you feel like revitalized after, you know, 2 whole days of walking. You're like, oh, you know, I could do like another week of walking if I have to, kind of feeling that you get in the air.
I love air drugs.
Right?
Air drugs.
You know, General Faldwin's men kind of settle down, you know, with their wagons, start to make camp. And you might notice, looking towards the dam, you see a couple of familiar figures who have not noticed any of you yet, to be Julie and Boot, who you had met back in Drake Mound. They seem to be examining something in the water beyond the dam. So as you approach closer to it, the bracelet that Boot had given you back in Drake Mound starts to glow. It's very, like, steady glow, and it seems blue as you look at it. And as you come to examine the crystal, it definitely does remind you of the Anima shards that you and your companions carry. It's just a big cluster of crystals.
So he's going to he's watching Yulia and Yabari, and especially once Yulia goes over toward them. And you know, he woke up. He's having a burst of energy. He's going to cause some problems.
Oh no!
And Marcellus is going to cast Prestidigitation to cause the water in the stream there to suddenly rise up and hit both of them in the face.
No!
And it begins.
You see Yabari just like swipe at her face. How dare you?
How dare you?
You just hear like the soft like.
As all of this is going on, Julie suddenly will like perk up and turn around. She looks very surprised as she adjusts her glasses and realizes, oh, there's a lot of people here all of a sudden.
We snuck up on you.
And then she'll see, you know, Yulia has fallen down, and she's like, oh my goodness, are you quite all right? Like, pretty nice tumble there.
I am just a little wet, and only my pride is wounded. I mean, if it feels nice just being here, wonder what it'd be like going in it.
Actually, it might be quite refreshing. I would be careful not to get, overexposed to the animas. There are lots of crystals out in the water, and as you peek up over the dam to get a better look at this body of water, you can see, even from like the weird angle you have, that there are a ton of crystals out in the water, much larger than the ones beside you guys. And they are glowing much more brightly. You notice as well.
I'm sure it's perfectly safe. Nothing glowing has ever been a problem.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyone could
So it's
Hey,
not
Yulia, you should go take a look. Swim out there.
So it's not like the sunlight making them glow light, right? It's like they're just kind of glowing on their own.
Yeah, they are glowing like from within the crystals.
So Yulia will kind of tilt their head side to side, then look to Yavari. What? And a little grin comes on their face, be like, "I'll dip my feet into this, actually." So they'll just make their way carefully up to Julie and kind of get as close to the edge of the water as they can to kind of sit, take off both boots, and like start just dipping their feet into the water just to see how it feels.
The way I want Yulia's foot to glow for the rest of the campaign.
Hey, look, guys, a free light source. Like, we can't see. Just take off your boot, Yulia.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
I don't need dancing lights anymore. I am the dancing light.
I am the dancing lights.
So, what, you're sticking both feet in or like one foot?
They'll start with one foot, but then eventually they'll just stick both feet in.
Okay. So you put your one foot in, and the water is probably about as cool as the crystals. Like, it's not cold, but it's, it's very nice and refreshing, as it is a little warmer out today. And as you stick your other foot in, as you stand there for a little bit, you can feel like a lot of the soreness and like the achiness from your feet of walking for the last 2 days definitely seems to get washed away as you stand there in the water, and it definitely feels very, very nice.
Ivan.
They'll kind of look up to Julie. Are you sure this isn't safe to just go completely swimming in? Because this is very nice.
Yuvari's a little disappointed that she isn't glowing.
It's like, damn.
I mean, I suppose you could try.
Listen, we always need a
From
good
my research notes. As I said, that just the only concern is getting too overexposed to the very anima-infused water, so you may not want to spend too much time in there. You never know what might happen. I have managed to break a piece off, and I mean, one thing we do notice is when they're out of the water, they don't glow quite as much. And, even if you get them wet, they do seem to have a reaction. And she's going to, scoop, kneel down, get some water in her hand, and splashes it on one of the crystals. And for a moment, you see it does light up brighter before it kind of fades back to its dimmer glow.
Okay. Then what Taffy's gonna do is he kind of smiles and he's like, interesting. So he's gonna go to this smaller little cluster right here and pull out his dagger and very carefully extract a piece just large enough to fit in his palm. Just kind of wiggle a piece loose if he can. And then he's gonna kind of pour his own water skin over the crystal, see if it reacts in the same way.
Okay, yeah, you pour the water over it, and it does have the same effect where it does glow brighter for a moment before it does kind of fade back down again.
Excellent. So then what he's going to do is he's going to take that piece and just wrap it up and put it in his inventory.
Nice. You gain 1 water-attuned question mark? Anima shard?
Anima shard.
Been very aware that Archellus keeps, looking over at her in a not so nice way. And after kind of taking a moment to compose herself, but also just get up the courage to walk over to him, she goes over to him. And she says, could I talk to you for a moment in private? I've been wrong about a lot of stuff, especially about some things that I've said to you and the way that I've treated you. And you can tell, as she's talking, there's like a genuineness to what she's saying, but it feels like awkward coming out of her. Like she's tried to rehearse this, and it's not coming out the way that she wants it to. And she says, and I want you to know that I'm sorry. And I know how hollow that sounds, and that probably doesn't mean anything to you because I really haven't shown you that I'm sorry. I've actually kind of shown you the opposite, but I just want you to know that I know that I was wrong.
And he's gonna kind of like turn away from Taffy to kind of survey her as she talks, and he does look very suspicious at first. Mainly because, like, yes, she's apologizing, but she's not saying what she's apologizing for. So, like, after a minute, he just sort of, like, crosses his arms over his chest and just kind of gives her, like, this sort of blank look. And he just says, like, So, you're sorry about something you did and something you said. Is this an isolated incident? Am I supposed to guess?
And I think in this moment, Tova's kind of caught in the space of feeling guilty, and not wanting to like outright admit what she's done, but at the same, that's kind of like the human nature of her. Like she doesn't want to be honest. But at the same time, she's come to a place where she's like recognized that she's not been a very great friend. And she sort of is like fiddling with like the edge of her cloak. And she says, I said I didn't trust you because you're drow, and that was wrong of me.
And he will reach out. He will reach out when she starts to talk again, and just like I don't know. He will just sort of reach out and grab onto her wrist, like kind of almost too tightly. When she starts her second sentence, and he just goes, "You idiot! If you thought I was angry at you for that, then you're wrong. Just shut up." He takes a minute. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
He takes a minute and he's like, "If you think that's the worst thing that's ever been said to me, you are sorely mistaken, Tove. I don't know why you're so hung up on this, and yeah, I was pissed, but I'm not now. And besides, and you can see he's not good at this. It makes him uncomfortable. Like her being vulnerable with him has made him uncomfortable. And he just sort of he takes his hand off of her, and he's just like, I guess the reason that I kept bringing up that you were human is because it's not a derogatory thing. It's just I didn't want you to fall and break your damn neck because I care. Okay?
Oh.
Oh.
Certified moment right here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Talking about my best friend.
And Tova's going to look a little bit taken aback at this realization or like actualized feeling of care, because I don't think to her it crossed her mind that Narcellus could have thought of her as a friend, because at this point she's just been downright awful to him. And so, there's going to be there's this look of like surprise on her face, and her eyes kind of go wide for a moment before she speaks, and she says, well, I care about you too. But the way I was treating you,
I didn't say I care about you specifically. Stop.
Just listen.
He reaches his hand out and covers her mouth, and he's just like,
Oh my god!
stop!
No more, please.
You have not unlocked
And he
this
just
trauma
like
level
shakes
yet.
her a little bit, and he's like,
Did not beat the boss.
okay. Tove.
and she's
How
just gonna
about-
nod.
He's like, how about we take this a little bit slower here?
Daffy's
And
chuckling to him, he's trying his hardest to not just laugh himself to death.
He's like, how about we start with some things that there are a lot of things you don't understand about me, and I'm willing to teach that to you nice and slow and
Nice and slow.
at least 3 feet apart at all times. But at the same time, I am half human, and there's a lot of things that I don't understand about that. So how about I teach you about Drow, and you show me a little bit about how humans act. Okay? And he'll just sort of let his hand fall, and like, he's really uncomfortable.
Oh, but just both fidgeting over there.
So
And
you,
yeah, and oh, go ahead.
he's just gonna say, so you just show me a little bit everyday human things.
And Tove is going to like, she was cut off mid-sentence, so her head's still kind of spinning a little bit, but she's following along with what he's saying. And so she just sort of nods and she smiles a little bit and says, okay, that sounds like a good idea. I'll teach you human stuff, you'll teach me drow stuff, and we'll stay 3 feet apart at all times.
Very good. Now, for your first lesson, I need you to go kick Yavari's ass.
Oh,
This is very important to my drow
What
culture.
do you do?
It's very important.
Tova's gonna look over at Yavari, and she's gonna look back over at Narcellus, and she's gonna be like, I really don't think if I kick her, anything is going to happen.
She might kick back.
Something will happen, alright.
Oh, something will happen, alright.
Gently, take a dip and go into it.
Oh god.
Nice. And
YOLO.
as you fully submerge yourself into the water, it's, that initial shock is like cold at first. but you quickly adjust to the cool temperature of the water. And, swimming around, like, you feel great. Like, you feel ready to go swim a marathon, like, around the entire continent. Yeah, you're just having, like, a great time at the moment. As you're swimming around the water, you're having a grand old time. After a while, well, you had been feeling very energetic, very refreshed, ready to take on the world. Now, all of a sudden, you're starting to kind of slow down. You're starting to slow down a little bit, and you're now starting to get very nauseous.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
They're gonna reach for the wall as this feeling encroaches. And unsure what else to do. They yell as loud as they can, Yavari!
Are you okay?
Are you okay?
They probably don't look so hot. Their faces kind of like probably goes like whatever the equivalent of like going a little bit green, and they'll just pleading look like, can you please help me out of here? I think this is the threshold.
Yeah, so as you go in, grab Yulia, you see actually Julie has made her way over to you guys, and she will kind of get down there and help you out to drag Yulia out of the water. She says, what happened? Is everything all right?
Yeah, we're having a joyride.
So Yulia's just kind of do they feel any better once they're out of the water, or are they still, is the effects lingering?
It's definitely still lingering at the moment.
Oh, all right, cool. So they're just kind of looking up miserably. They don't even care that they're just like basically half like down to their undergarments one person's a friend, so it's like, okay, but the other person's a stranger, but they don't care right now. They just don't feel so great. They're just looking up at Julie and just like, I don't know what happened. Suddenly it went very south. I feel kind of sick, and my body just feels very weird.
Can Yuvari very quickly take off her cloak and wrap it around Yulia to protect her modesty, or their modesty?
What a good friend. But yeah, you take your cloak off, you wrap it around her, and as you do, Julie says, "Oh, that's I believe you've caught a bit of anima sickness. I did say to be careful. But I'm sure if you get some good rest for the night, you'll feel much better in the morning."
They gratefully take Yavari's cloak and just kind of like pull it around them, like in the way that like when you're sick with a cold, you just kind of just grab the blanket and just tightly wrap it around yourself. And they just kind of just look up at Yavari, attempting to smile and be like, well, I guess everyone will take a break from my music this evening, because I think I'm going to go to sleep early.
Aww.
And Yuvari, by the way, is still holding Yulia.
Aww.
Making sure that Yulia is steady and she's like just not even the slightest bit embarrassed by it at all. You know, just keeping them up and making sure that they don't get sick everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Onward we shall go. So you all settle down for the night. And Julie and Boot probably have their own little campsite as well that they go and return to. And you all get some good rest. And in the morning, you are off once more on the road to Vaalguard. Well, I mean, I guess to Drake Mound, you'll have to pass through that.
Drake Mound's on the way.
So as you guys are walking, you just kind of happen to notice that in between the bushes and like some hanging moss that's hanging over this little cliffside that goes along here, that it seems to, like the rock seems to go inward into a cave.
Creep into the little cave as Yavari stops, and he'll just be like, God, I have to do everything myself. I'm gonna die. And he sort of crawls down onto his ass and lets his legs dangle over the side of this drop, and just sort of is like, if I die in here, don't look for me.
Don't mind your own business. You're gonna die because you don't mind your own business.
And with your dark vision, you look around and you can see there's like a couple of wooden crates pushed up to one side of this little space, and like a leather bag or two that's set on top. And you see next to it, there is someone standing there, kind of like half hunched over, like wide, like amber eyes that are staring you down in surprise. And you can see, even in the dim light, thanks to your dark vision, they have like very dark obsidian almost skin, and what appears to be like silver hair on the top of their head.
Oh god. Can Yavari, real quick, can Yavari jump down?
If you'd like, yeah.
I will say that immediately upon seeing another drow, anyone outside of the cave will hear a sudden, oh fuck!
Okay, yeah, Arca's diving in.
Oh yeah.
Yulia's also be like, what? What is going on? And just follows.
So
everybody jumps down.
So Yavari, you jump down in after Narcellus as he screams, and Arca, you're heading in as well. Yulia's running in, and Narcellus, you'll see the drow kind of push themselves back against the wall, and they're like, what the hell is going on? As he
suddenly party.
He's actually speaking to you in Drowic, in Undercommon. Yeah, you can see his face, and you will likely recognize his voice.
Oh boy. And so, as the rest of the party clambers into this cave, Narcellus just yells and runs forward and grabs this man by the collar around his neck and just goes,
no!
Imran!
What the hell are you doing here?
What am I doing here? You're in the goddamn forest hiding in a hole!
Yes, if you don't know, that's part of my job. Well, not the hiding in the hole part, but it helps me. Never mind. What are you doing here? Who the hell are all these people?
Yeah, and just sort of turns to look at Yavari and Yulia and Arca, and he's just holding this man against the wall, semi-violently, and stops and just looks at them.
Yavari is so confused. She's like, what is happening here?
Is my cousin or something.
Or something.
Or something.
Or something.
I don't know. Some
Why
days
is
he's my
that?
dad, some days he's my cousin. It just fucking depends, doesn't it, Imran?
What?
I don't know why you're getting so mad about it.
Just after a minute, he just sort of looks around the hole. And what's in here that he can see?
There are a few wooden crates. Like Imran, you found him standing next to like a few wooden crates, and there's like a leather bag or two, and you see one of them is partially open, and you can see like more of the pieces of mushroom inside of that particular bag.
And after a minute, he just goes, "How did I know? How did I know it was you? You know, back in Drake Mound, there's this cheeky little wood elf who happened to drop your fucking name. I'm sorry, moon elf, not wood elf."
Oh. I knew I couldn't trust that bastard.
Yeah, you really can't.
You really can't.
Just turning back toward the party, he's like, he's not gonna hurt you guys. I don't think he could hurt himself if he tried.
I don't think he could hurt himself.
Unfortunately, though, I don't think he's going to be able to understand you. I don't know what. He'll turn back to him and he'll just speak in Drow, and he'll just say, I don't know, can you understand him?
Common is... I can understand it for the most part, just my common is very bad. If I try to speak it.
Oh, okay, never mind, guys. You can kind of
Talk at him.
And just after a minute, he'll just like, if I let you go, you're not gonna run, right?
Thinking about it.
And then,
Fine.
I
Don't
need to
go
warn
anywhere.
you. There's somebody outside of this cave you're not gonna like.
Oh god.
So, you'll see, takes you all outside. Here, I'm gonna maybe move you guys around a little bit.
Yulia just walking in like, hey, Narcellis! Oh, wait, you're coming out. Never mind. And backs up out of the cave.
And, as you all kind of get out of the cave, make a little room for Yavari and Narcellis, you see Narcellis is dragging along a drow with him who looks very frightened at the moment, and he sees General Foldman standing over here who's just standing silently. He has his hands folded. He has his hands folded behind his back. He's kind of
dad energy is just maximum levels right now.
He's mostly looking at Narcellis with like a quirked eyebrow, but he doesn't say anything quite yet. And Imran's like, oh, please don't turn me in. Please don't turn me in.
Please don't kill me.
Okay. And speaking Drow, like he will turn back to Imran and sort of
He won't,
lift
but I
him up
will.
again and push him against the rock wall. And he's like, okay, what about Sturkin?
And still speaking in Drow, he'll say, well, I may have sold him something.
Something, okay? Like are we talking like a knife, or like some mustard gas, or like what kind of thing are you selling?
Oh, you're not gonna like the answer. Please don't kill me. Please, I need your word. You're not going to like kill me right now or give me over to the butcher.
All right,
Oh.
just hang on. He just turns toward the rest of the group and says, he apparently has information on Sturkin, and I have agreed neither to kill my cousin nor turn him in to you, Jen, if he gives me the information on what he apparently did with Sturkin.
Thank you. And he will clear his throat and he says, so I sold him Strider venom.
Marcellus
Oh,
grasps both parts of his collar and just starts fucking shaking him. You sold him
Are we-
what?
I'm sorry.
Oh, we're beating him up. Beat him up. Let's go.
Let's beat him up. Let's
And-
go.
Sorry.
Just sort of turns really hard and like throws him so hard on the ground that like he almost hurts his own wrist.
He gets thrown on the ground, and he doesn't try to get up. He kind of pushes himself up onto his elbows. He's like, I'm sorry, yes, Strider venom, okay, that is what I sold him, it was Strider venom. Oh.
Marcellus, just sort of dusting his hands off, comes back in comment, looks to Tove, looks to Taffy, looks back at Yulia, and Yavar, and then back at General Falcon. And he just says, he gave Sturkin Drider venom.
Baldwin immediately is like, oh. Jealous, I don't know how I cannot arrest this man at this point.
General,
no.
General. He sort of looks down at him and he's like, hate how much I owe you. If you were not my brother's best friend, I would let him kill you. I would do it myself, but you were Stress's best friend, and I'm lightheaded, and he just pauses and he takes a minute to compose himself, and he's like, what kind of agreement can be reached so that my cousin
Your uncousin
does not
The dad.
go, shut up, you boy! Does not go to Vaalguard's dungeon.
Olvin takes a deep breath, lets it out, says, he's able to give us useful information as to Sturken's whereabouts, where he's met him, if there's been more information, and we can see about arresting him.
Marcella just kind of holds up a hand and is like, it has to be more than you can see.
What was that?
He holds up his hand and he says, it's gotta be more than you can see.
Olvin sighs.
He's going to say, what if we bring him with us? And we make him show us where Sturken has been.
Very well. Alright, so yeah, you guys continue onward, and finally you reach Vaalguard proper. Yes, so here you are in the city of Vaalguard as you guys enter in through the southern gate. As you walk in, this place is crowded. It is busy. You know, there are people everywhere. You hear music drifting in from every side of you as you see there are bards set up on almost every street corner, as Vaalguard is also named the City of Bards. No instrument seems to receive more love, though, than the bagpipes and flute, which you can hear pretty much screaming
everywhere
above any other instrument in the city. The streets are bustling, filled to the brim, shoulder to shoulder of people moving about their day-to-day lives. Directly ahead of you guys, it's a very wide street that leads directly to a temple, which from your view, you can see one side, you guys will probably be able to recognize. One side holds a statue of Idavoll, who appears as like a very old, wise man with like this big beard and robes. And the other side has, what was it? Was it Neferu, Bela?
Yes.
Okay. The other side is Neferu, whose statue is that of a woman with 4 arms. Next to giant woman. Next to the temple, you see a maypole has been erected, but currently is vacant and the ribbons are left unattended. There's a lot of very obvious like streamers and decorations throughout the streets from a massive summer festival that had likely just happened within the last week while you guys were traveling back. The market square as you walk in is filled with the scent of a nearby bakery as well as the smell of like soot and iron from a forge just across the street. On top of that, you have a very heavy incense smell coming directly from the temple itself. Beyond the temple, up on a cliff, you can see there's a walled-off section of the city, and the tall towers of the castle proper kind of loom over the rest of the city before you. It's kind of a show of pride and majesty for the royal family that lives there.
No
Otherwise,
insecurity.
oh,
I'm sorry.
you've noticed.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Wouldn't you be ashamed if somebody robbed them? Could have used taffy surfaces.
I'm so
Oh my
glad that got.
God.
I'm so glad that got you, Rana.
Yeah, that is to the right seems to be the nobles' quarter, or kind of the higher up part of the city. And then over to the left as you look leads to the docks and what's known as the fishing district. It looks very in disrepair, and even from your distance you can see the far gate over near the docks has a statue of Hrist over the gate, wings outspread, but she looks to be in horrible disrepair, probably from the seawater eating away at the statue.
Ooh.
But yes, you walk in, and as you guys enter into the city, Faldvin will turn and address you all as he says, so in regards to your cousin, he looks from Narcellis to Imran.
Narcellis just sort of grins toothily from ear to ear, like, uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to say this. I would leave him in your care for now, as there are some things I must attend to being here in the city. If I take him, he will wind up in jail. Narcellis, I'm sorry.
Okay, I understand.
So, have...
No, go ahead.
If you'd like, have him give you what information he knows, and I can meet up with you all again, perhaps later in the day.
Just sort of nods. Oh, okay.
And as you all are working on filing in, you hear a voice speak up from behind Faldvin as he says, "Oh, General Faldvin, it is so nice for you to be back in the city." And I don't know if I'm doing his voice right.
Yeah, you're great.
You see an older man approaches, dressed in all black, with hair with streaks of gray that slicked back against his head and a mustache above his lip. He's definitely older, just a human wildling, as he approaches with a small smile upon his lips. And Baldwin will turn to him and nod and say, "Mr. Yakan, I was not expecting you to be in Vaalguard at this time." And Minister Yakan will just give smiles at him as he says, "Oh, yes, I was here to attend the festival that was just put on, and learning of your absence, I figured I would stay for a while to have word with you when you get the time, of course, General." And he looks over the party with a clear look of distaste. He kind of just frowns at everyone, and he says, "Who is your traveling party here, General? I have some odd faces amidst them." And General Faldvin will straighten up, kind of adjust his posture as he says, "Well, you see, this is in fact the adventuring party who helped us in Eastoft with the pirates. They were sent with very high recommendations from Mayor Jira of Drakemount. And they are here now in the hopes of helping us apprehend the man wanted for attempted regicide." And the minister will just nod, make just a small sound, and just seems rather unimpressed.
Yavari smiles at him.
Narcellis is going to speak up here and just go, "And who is this guy?"
Is he important?
And he will be the one to respond, says, "My I am known as Minister Yakan of the Order of Seven. I am the one who oversees the Leyred Kingdom for the Order. I was just simply here on a small visit. And I think maybe Tove might be the only one who knows about who this guy really is.
Oh yeah, Tove knows who this guy is, and she's freaking out in like a good way. He's like, it's like almost being in the presence of her god, but just like a messenger of her, kind of like, she's just kind of standing there like, oh my goodness.
Is she starstruck?
Is she like visibly starstruck?
Oh, absolutely. Like her mouth is hanging open.
Michelle will kind of lean over to her and just be like, I'm guessing you know who this guy is.
And she'll kind of lean over to him and be like, oh yeah, he is a big deal. Really big deal.
Okay. Alright then.
And seeing that, the minister just smiles back at Tove as he sees she's looking very awestruck at the moment. And he will turn to the general and give a nod as he says, when you have the time, General, I will like to have word with you, but I must return to the temple. There are some things I must see to. And the general will nod to him and say, very well, Minister. Have a good day. And Minister Yukon will just turn and slowly walk away, clearly not in any rush for where he is going.
Just vibing along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Old man walk.
Old man walk.
Yeah. Then Faldwin will kind of look back to the rest of the group and say, apologies about that. Is there anything you all will need while you are here in Vaalguard?
Palpable silence.
So Taffy will squeak around. He was kind of like, pressing himself to the back of the party when, he wants to keep a very low profile. But he squeaks up and he's like, real quick, could we get a rundown of the tavern options we have? We're gonna need we'll call it a base of operations while we're here.
Yes. Actually, Legan. And he'll turn and gesture for... Actually, no, sorry, not Legan. Renarian. I keep forgetting he freaking exists.
Renarian exists.
How can you forget the boy?
He's here.
I know, right? Like, Renarian. And Renarian will come walking over and say, yes, father, what can I help you with? Well, they will need someone to guide them around the city, and I know you know this place like the back of your hand. Oh, yes, father, it would be my pleasure. I do indeed know this place, no problem. And Baldwin will nod and then kind of address, look over the rest of the group as he says, make yourselves at home. If you need me, simply send Renarian for me and I will see to it to take care of whatever you might need. With that, he will depart you guys, unless anyone needs anything further of him.
Nope.
I can't think of it.
Does a smile, says thank you.
Nice. Vanishes. Renarian will say, all right, well, who's ready for a nice tour of Vaalguard?
Marcella's...
Oh.
Go ahead.
Oh?
Arca.
Oh, Arca just raises his hand. He's ready for the tour.
Yes, Arca, did you have a question?
I'm ready for the tour.
Oh, good, excellent. Wonderful to hear.
Yulia will actually perk up and say, I actually know my way around this place really well. if we're looking for a safe place, I have friends here, actually.
Perfect. Are they in a tavern, or they're gonna mind what? And he like turns around and count like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're gonna count like 8 of us crashing in wherever they're located.
Well, one runs a bakery, just over that way, in fact. And they'll point in the direction of the bakery. I will have to see if she can fit all of us. But I'm sure at least she'll be safe. And if we need to find a safe place other than at least there, we have people to rely on.
We may wish to, at least at first, bunk up in a tavern first, just to. We don't want to. If we're gonna, rely on contacts and allies, we don't want to put too much pressure on them immediately.
Fair. But they can probably tell us what's been going on around here, at least.
He does kind of nod and is like, that's a good point. Good starting point.
Marcellus, did you have something you'd like to do?
Yes, Marcellus is going to kind of pipe up for a minute and say, like, I don't think it's a particularly good idea for me to be bringing Imran anywhere near these places in Market Square. He just pauses for a minute and says, I live here, so if there's anyone else who doesn't particularly mind skipping Lunarian's tour, I can start looking around in the fishing district with you guys.
Works for me. I need to get a lay of the land before I start making any moves.
Understandable. Well, there's 8 of us. Why don't we split into groups of 4?
Works for me.
Okay.
Fair.
If that's okay with everyone.
Yeah.
Tove is
I'll-
kind of
Yes.
I was gonna say, Tove is kind of eyeing the temple very much like she wants to go. But, like, she really wants to go in there, besties. But she'll wait. She'll wait.
Marcellus will just say, Tony, if you really want to go in there, you can come with us.
Okay. She'll go with Marcellus.
Yes.
Yeah, you literally don't have to say anything else.
Make it so.
Alright, so who else is coming with me and Imran?
Unfortunately, I'll be going with Runarian. Since he offered a tour, I need to figure out what's where, what, alleyways, fences, guards, that sort of thing. Not that hopefully we don't need to use any of it, but just in case.
Yavari is also going to go with Renarian because she also wants to get a lay of the land. I don't think she's ever been to Vaalguard.
Fair. I guess it kind of depends, like, where she's been, because she came recently from Yifu, right? Or has she been here a while from Lockett?
I would say it's been like 7 months since she's arrived from it.
Okay.
Like,
Because, I mean, you likely would have come through Vaalguard, like from Idfu to Vaalguard, and then it would have been up to Yavari whether she stayed or decided to go to like one of the other little towns nearby.
we'll go with that.
Okay,
She didn't stay for too long.
sounds good. Yeah, then I guess that leaves Yulia, Arca, whoever you guys would like to go with. Either Ari on his little tour of the town, or with Narcellus and Tove and Imran, go check out the temple, plus take a look around the city.
The fishing district.
Yeah.
He will go on the tour with Renarian and gang. Unless, Yulia, you have a preference?
Can Yulia take the third option and go to the bakery, or do we want to keep like the two parties for now?
I mean, Renarian would probably. I mean, they could probably stop by the bakery, right?
Sure, I don't see why not. We can take a quick stop in there before we continue onward.
Okay. And Arca will join Michelle's Tove.
But Ursula just kind of raises his hands. If you want to go on the tour, Arca, it's cool, man.
Okay, yeah. I don't think he'll be like too enthused about like going to the temple. So
That's valid.
I think
Yeah.
Tova's the only one who's excited about this.
Yes.
Yeah. Imran's just kind of standing there like, I don't know where we're going.
Again, remind me why we're keeping your dad cousin around.
And Narcellus will look at Yavari and get rid of mine. He'll look at Yavari and say, well, for one, because I'm not about to leave him out here with these people.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so as you approach the temple, you see there are still a lot of the decorations laying about from the earlier celebration for the season. You see off to the sides, there's, a stall or two here and there that seem to mostly be selling like votives from the church, specifically to kind of make money for it, or for the temple, sorry, not church. To help just make money to help upkeep it, or for whatever they may need it for. There's probably a couple other market stalls further to the left of just general salespeople, selling food, trinkets, probably religious items, things of that nature. As you approach the temple, the doors are completely open, but you see around the temple, along the walls of it, there are people gathered, just up against the walls, either with their hands up on the wall. Some have their heads resting against it with like their head bowed, their eyes closed, like they're praying. Just a lot of people are just like up against the outer wall of this temple to pray to it, which for Tove, you will know that is very common for those who follow the order's teachings and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He will kind of lead Tove up to the steps and then casually step to the side.
Imran as well is sticking very close to Narcellus, looking a little scared.
Okay, no.
And oh, poor Imran. And Tove is sort of like standing outside the door, and obviously she can see sort of what's happening inside, and like Narcellus and Imran can see that she just like takes like a deep breath, and she sort of looks over at the two of them and says, I'll just be a moment, and then we can head to the fishing district. And then she sort of just like slips in the door.
Just vibrates
Narcellus-
with excitement.
She said bye.
Bye.
Narcellus will wait a moment and kind of sighs and looks at Imran, gives him this sort of hand gesture to stay put or else. Like, flat hand, then pointing.
You're leaving me here.
For 2 seconds, and I will come back, okay?
Everyone is staring. It's very...
Well, do you want to come in with me?
No.
I didn't think so, so just wait here a minute, okay? And during the stairs, he climbs up the steps and just sort of barely steps in the threshold and sort of watches after Tove, just to make sure, because this is a very busy area. He's just watching.
Nice. So yeah, Tove, as you come into the church, I mean, this thing, or into the temple, you stop calling it that. This thing is massive. You know, it's not incredibly old, but you know, walking in, it feels newer than some of the buildings in the city probably are. You see there are areas for pews for people to sit at. You see along the walls, down one particular side that leads up to the main altar, there's these gorgeous, like, stained glass windows of the 7 gods that the Order of 7 worship. Which, just for reference for everyone, is, if I can pull up my notes, would be the human triad of Yidaldin, Christ, and Neferu. This also 7 include Bahamut, which is mostly the Dragonborn's god that they worship. There is Ilthurin. Am I right? Shit, who are we forgetting in here? I'm sorry. I had to go back to my notes. Yeah. Okay, right, because this was the one. Okay, so yes, it is Yidaldin, Christ, and Neferu, Bahamut. There's also Ilthurin, who's usually considered the elven god. Duraz, who is most often worshipped by dwarves. And then, of course, at the kind of top of their hierarchy for the order is Sophis itself. And you can see, you know, there's these gorgeous stained glass windows representing each of these gods. Other than the one meant to represent Sophis, and this is very common in a lot of religious artwork of this particular god, Sophis is not really a person or a thing. It's mostly just a collection of, like, gold and white, like, magic or anima in a way, or crystals sometimes, kind of formed together in this general shape of, like, some giant thing that you can't really describe it as human, but it's some large entity. Regardless, so you walk in, and as you do, you can see, you know, there's a couple people milling about. You know, there's a few priests by the altar speaking amidst themselves. And you see Minister Yakan, who had walked in earlier, seems to be, like, giving someone a small prayer or something as he bows his head to them before they kind of leave and walk off by themselves.
I think Tove is going to make her way over to, like, the stained glass, I guess, depiction or representation of Idaldin, and find sort of a spot near there where she can sort of, like, if there's an empty spot, I don't really know, like, how crowded certain deities' places are, but she'll find an empty spot to kind of, like, rest her hand against the wall.
Yeah, and you find one fairly close by. You know, this depiction of Yidaldin is shown as, like, an older man with, like, a beard. He has a shepherd cane in one hand. Yeah, you find your little spot next to him, and you just kind of sit there to pray, or is there anything in particular you're doing?
Oh, I think Tove is just basking in this glorious moment for herself. Where, because she would have visited this particular temple at least, like, once in her childhood, and so, like, at that time it seemed, like, big and magnanimous, and just, like, you know, she didn't fully necessarily understand what was happening, but it was like this wonderful thing. And so to come back to it now, it's just like the special moment of like, you know, connection to the god that she serves, but also to the religion as a whole. I don't know, just a weird little moment. She just needs to have her little spiritual moment.
Aw,
Aw,
good for her.
I love this for her.
Yeah. And then I think after a little while she'll just sort of you know, move away and head back towards the door. To where Darshella is.
Alright, give me 1 second. Yeah, so you kind of enjoy your little moment, kind of reminiscing a little on the one time you came as a child, which, you know, the temple definitely seems as big as when you were that small as well. And as you begin walking to the door, you hear a voice speak up from behind you and say, "Excuse me, just one moment, my dear. If I might have a moment of your time." And if you turn, you'll see it is Minister Yakan who has approached you.
Toe fangirl moment. Sorry, this is very big for her. So yes, so she does turn and she sort of sees him, and she, like, as she was sort of like walking over to the temple, and after Minister Yakan had left, she was like, "Oh crap, like I probably looked really stupid." So she tries not to do that this time and sort of just gives like a little bow of her head, and she's like, she says, "Minister Yakan, what can I do for you?"
And he'll approach and he'll gently reach for one of her hands. You know, and him being in his older years, you know, his hands are wrinkled, you know, probably a little calloused on the fingertips, and he'll hold one of her hands in both of his as he says, "Dear, please do not bow your head before me. The only ones such worthy of such divine kindness would be the gods here around us. But I did want to ask, what might your name be?"
Oh, and Tove sort of is just like, you know, as he's like, "Hey, you know, don't bow to me." She's like, "Oh, of course." And she says, "Oh, my name, Tove Bauer. I'm from Drakema."
Oh, well, it is very nice to meet you, Miss Bauer. I am, as you heard earlier, Minister Yakan. What brings you here from Drakemound?
Oh, well, I suppose mostly what General Thaldman said. You know, we've been helping him with some things over in Eastoff, and now we're here to help him with some more in Vaalguard.
Be careful. There are many dark corners here in Vaalguard, and you know, I would hate for one of Idolden's bright lights, such as yourself, to get into any sort of trouble while she's here.
And she'll just smile and say, "Of course, I will do my best to stay out of trouble."
All this is going on. Darshella
Is walking through the front door with his eyes plastered to this man who is touching her.
Yeah, probably absolutely still holding her hand at this point, unless she's tried to take it back.
Like, even though people are moving around and there's sound, you hear his boots on the stone, and he just reaches out and he just puts his hand, like, almost hard on Tove's shoulder, and he just goes, "Tove."
Oh, and she turns sort of surprised that he's like in the building, because like his demeanor had come off, you know, like maybe he wasn't so comfortable as being in that space. And she says, "Oh, Narshellis, this is Minister Yakan. We were just talking. It's all right."
And he'll just sort of like his hand will stay on her shoulder for a minute, and he'll sort of fall and like turn his eyes toward the elderly man and just sort of blink.
And as this happens, as Tove turns away, the minister is definitely giving Narcellus a not so kind look as he kind of narrows his eyes, definitely judging him very much. As he still keeps his smile on his face, and he'll say, "Tove, it's clear your little drow friend here needs you, so I shall leave you be. Do be sure, however," as he will look at Narcellus, "in the future, drow are not allowed on temple grounds as per the royal law of Vaalguard."
Oh god.
His face just says fucking murder.
Oh. And meanwhile, Tove looks puzzled because she's never heard of this before, so she's definitely confused, and she sort of she looks at Narcellus and then at Minister Yakan, and she says, "But, well, isn't Sophis meant for all of us? Not just the children of the Triad, but surely Sophis has created everything, therefore drow, just as anyone else, should be able to visit the place of worship."
Go, Tove, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I love it. Stand up to your heroes.
Right.
And yeah, right, for real.
Like,
Minister
I want-
Yakan. I'm sorry?
Oh, I'm replying to your message.
Oh, okay. I thought it sounded almost like Rana was trying to say something.
Oh, go ahead.
You?
Oh, no.
Okay. Just making sure. So Minister Yakan will just smile very sweetly at Tove. Almost a little uncomfortably so. Give me 2 seconds. I'm so sorry.
oh, you're okay.
Right. Oh, I typed.
No, you're good, you're good. But yes, he smiles sweetly to her and says, "Yes, dear Tove, you would be correct. But it is unfortunate that their goddess was the chief cause of one of our gods' death. Thus, as much as I wish we could, we cannot permit these heathens on such holy ground."
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh
Narcellus just kind of straightens up and he's like, "Heathens, Minister."
Worshipping such a goddess, there's really nothing else that could be labeled as such.
And
Oh.
what about the? I'm sorry. Say, and I suppose your opinion connects with those who worship Idavoll.
Would be correct. I mean, she is the daughter of Loth, after all. There's oh.
I shouldn't have looked in
Oh,
chat.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm being a distraction.
That was great.
Yeah.
Actually him. And Tove will pipe up at this and say, "Well, it is a shame, Minister, that the temple has closed its doors to some of some of Sophis' creation." Narcellus, and she'll turn to him and sort of move her hand out of the ministers, and says, Narcellus, I do think we should be going now. We have somewhere to be, right?
His jaw sets, and his eyes bore into this smiling, slimy, smarmy little minister, and she will have to move him, but he just sort of nods.
She'll grab his arm and sort of like begin to kind of like gently tug him in the direction of the door and say, and as she does so says, have a wonderful evening, Minister. It was wonderful getting to meet you. Just like pull Marcellus and be like, come on, Marcellus, come on.
And as you leave,
He's walking
you hear
backwards.
as you leave, you hear him say, very nice to meet you as well, Miss Bauer. However, I would be careful of the company you decide to keep.
Dude, he is trying to get death flags, man. He is like, how many of these can I collect?
We are.
Enjoy the day you deserve.
We are. Yeah. We are heading back out into the world.
Yeah.
Before somebody dies.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you guys walk outside, and Imran is just standing there real awkwardly, just not knowing what to do with his hands at the moment.
Marcellus will look at him and just be like, we need to leave before I commit a crime.
Oh my god.
It's like we just got here. It's like here 5 minutes. Just crime already committed.
You hear Fulton in the background just sighing the longest sigh known to mankind.
We just got cleared of one crime.
Yeah, and Tove, whose like just beautiful religious experience was ruined by this man, you know, this minister, who now she's not sure what she feels about him. Looks at Imran and looks down and realizes she's still holding like Narcellus' arm, and she lets him go, but she's like, 3 feet, and she says,
3 feet.
I think it's probably a good idea if we head down towards the fishing district.
And after a minute, he just nods his head and just kind of notices that people were probably looking at them. And he'll say, sorry, I ruined the whole temple thing for you. And he'll just kind of turn and motion for Imran to kind of come with them with like a nod of his head toward the other direction. Mm-hmm. And start toward the fishing district.
Excellent. And as you guys make your way that way, the rest of our party, you decide to head off in your own direction. I believe Julia was the one you kind of decided to like drag them over to the bakery.
Yes, and they are just noticeably like bouncing on their feet, excited to go in this direction.
Excellent. All right, so yeah, as you guys head over, with Renarian just tagging along behind you all, approaching the bakery, you see that there is a stall outside where the current fresh-baked goods are being displayed for sale. The door is, of course, open, which is what is allowing all these delicious smells to drift out into the streets. And it's fairly busy over here, especially being right by the front gate. There's definitely a lot of foot traffic. And are you going to try and go inside, Yulia, or?
Yeah. She's gonna see. Well, most likely Mira will be in there, but because she doesn't know if Briagi will be in there also. But she'll definitely be looking for the one woman.
Okay. And then do you all then decide to follow her inside?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Taffy?
Yes, Taffy will follow them all inside. Sorry.
Excellent. Oh, you're good. So yep, you all kind of make your way inside, and you can see that it's kind of a very like standard setup that you might expect at a little restaurant or tavern. There's tables set up where there's a few people eating at. There is at the back of the house like a wide bar that separates it from a large kitchen area. And behind the counter, you see there's a couple of people working. But Yulia, of course, you will spot the half-elf woman who's currently got like elbow deep in like some dough that she's currently making in a large bowl. She has fairly like tan skin with blonde, like dark blonde hair on top of her head. She's wearing like an apron that is absolutely covered in flour and like splatters of batter and God knows what else that she's been cooking today. And as you guys come in, she'll kind of call out, "Oh, welcome to Mira's Bakery. I'll be right with you. Oh, Canary, is that you?"
And Yulia just has the biggest smile on her face and goes right to her, basically just like opens her arms for just like a big hug. She doesn't care if she gets anything on her. She's just happy to see this woman.
And Mira will absolutely, walk around and meet her, give her a big hug. Definitely, Yulia's probably now covered in flour as well. She says, "Oh, darling, it is so good to see you again. You've been away for quite some time."
Oh, I know. That job that I told you about,
Yes.
It did not go as planned whatsoever.
Yes, so I've heard there've been supposed bounty on your heads at one point. Is everything okay?
Oh, it's fine. It's fine now. And they'll gesture to the party that followed them. We ended up clearing our names. There is a very long story attached to this. You and Briagi probably are going to need to hear this.
Yes, definitely. I would like to hear. Briagi right now is working today until probably a little after sunset. Is there anything I can get you all? Are you hungry? She'll kind of look around the rest of the party.
Yvari's just looking at all the delicious pastries, and like her eyes are as wide as the dinner plate. She's like, "I would love something."
It's delicious time.
Yeah.
They haven't run into a bakery for 3 months. Okay.
That's true.
Right?
All right. Well, with that, Mira will probably like grab something for everyone as you kind of pick out what you want. She has like an array of things from like muffins and cookies. There's like pastries stuffed with things and all this other stuff, that they've been making. And she'll gladly just give you all a thing of your choice for free. Then she'll kind of help you all settle down at a table. Probably has to drag a couple together to get you all situated, as the tables are like fairly small. But she helps get you all sat down, and we'll take a moment to kind of sit with you guys as the kitchen is fine to be run with a couple of other workers she has. And I imagine while you eat, I don't know, well, you'll probably save it for later. She'll sit down and she'll look at you guys and say, "Well, so what brings you to Vaalguard is fairly obvious. Is there anything you needed while you were here? I imagine you want to save the story for later, Yulia, once Briagi is home."
Well, yeah, we'll save all that for later, but they're trying to choose their words carefully because they particularly want to talk to the rest of the party, and maybe particularly Taffy, about how much they should let them know, even though these are people that Yulia would absolutely trust. So they'll just kind of start off with, has anything weird happened the past week or so? Besides the bounty issue?
Not that I can think of. I mean, as you probably heard, there was the attempt on Her Royal Majesty's life. But other than that, everything's been fairly quiet. We just had a celebration of the coming summer, which was quite lovely. Oh, I'm still reeling from all the people I had in here. No, really, everything else has been fairly quiet, as far as I'm aware.
Does he not come around often? I didn't really recognize him or his name on sight, so probably not, but is it really that big of a deal he's here?
Yes, I mean, not much of a worshipper myself for the order, but from what I understand, he, as well as 4 other ministers, are the ones who sort of run the organization directly under the Magi himself. And he, Minister Yakan, that is, he is the minister for the Kingdom of Leyrid, so he's often here, between here or many of the other larger towns and settlements. But yes, he just came in recently, I guess to help celebrate our coming of summer. I mean, everyone was quite excited for him to be here, but I mean, no disrespect when I say I don't really care that much.
Any particular reason why, or?
Nothing I'm aware of. You'd have to probably ask the man yourself.
We'll be heading out soon, but it will definitely be back later. I definitely want to talk more than just the crazy business I've been up to, but I really wanted to see you first because I missed you, and while I was gone, I was just hoping that you both were doing okay.
Aww.
Yes, we've been quite well, thank you, and we did miss you too as well, Yulia, but yes, we can talk more later, for sure. Sorry, I'm so busy today.
No, I totally get it. I'll let you get back to work, and see you later then. We'll just go back to the table.
Take care.
Just kind of sit down and kind of put their fingers on their temples, start rubbing circles like this might be a bad idea. Now I feel kind of bad. I don't know what to do.
Taffy just kind of pats her on the shoulder and is like, we'll figure it out.
Alright, so as you guys finish up, you kind of finished up your pastries or bread, whatever you might have been munching on, and you leave the bakery to head to wherever your next destination may be. In the meantime, we're gonna swap back over to our other party on the other side of the city. Yes, Narshella.
Oh, I should be on the other side of the city. Hold on. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, you should be out wherever the hell you want to be. So yeah, Narshalis, Tove, and Imran, you guys head from the temple down towards the fishing district. I'm assuming, Bela, just to double check with you, that's kind of like all of this, isn't it? Like,
Can I make a shape?
yeah, you can like freak it.
It's like, oh, I can do that. Hold on. So it's gonna be pink.
Okay, sounds great.
Make it pink.
About like that.
Whoa. Okay, so yeah, all of that stuff. Yeah, that's about what I figured.
Fishing district.
Yeah. Nice. So yeah, you guys make your way to the fishing district. Yeah, Narshalis, is there anywhere in particular you're going to while you're here?
He's gonna kind of watch Tove as he goes. Still hyper aware that he kind of just ruined her meeting her god moment. He does look like he's like well, He does look like he's trying to kind of weave himself through as many of the buildings as he can. But can I ask, as they get further into the fishing district, what does he see?
So yeah, as you get further in, you can definitely tell, kind of like this side of the temple, the buildings here are not quite as well taken care of as those near the center or the right side of the city. A lot of stuff here is made of like wood or very old stone. It's very worn, very kind of, some of it's probably rotting away, especially the closer you get to the docks. You see, the people here, definitely common folk dressed in very simple clothing or stuff that is very worn, possibly hand-me-downs. You see in this area especially, and then Tove, you'll notice this as well, you see in this particular area, there are a lot of drow. It's not the entire population, like there are humans, there's gnomes walking around, halflings, there's no dragonborns to be seen. That you can make note of, but you see there are a lot of drow in this area. Most of them looking like they could definitely use, help or something of the sort, as they've been kind of forgotten here in this area of the city. But yeah, there's still tons of people walking about, kids weaving between people's legs. And, yeah.
Anna,
That sums it up.
Is there anything that Tove wants to go toward or wants to say or do?
I think at this moment, I think initially, as they were sort of walking this way, she was going to ask the question of, why are we going to the fishing district? What's so important about the fishing district? But as they start to walk through, this like assortment of buildings, and she just sees like, oh my goodness, there's like more drow. She gets it, and sort of, I mean, she doesn't fully understand like what his, like, if there's a specific place Norshellus is trying to take them, but she understands why they're here. And so I think she just sort of follows along and, just follows his lead.
He will say, as he kind of makes his way around a little bit deeper, he'll say, if you're uncomfortable, you don't have to come with us.
And Toad's like, no, I'm fine. I promise. I don't mind.
And as he's going along, wordlessly and without making eye contact, he will pull out the pouch that he got from Imran that was full of that gold, and just reach in with 2 fingers, grab what he can, and slide it into different people's hands as he goes. No words, no eye contact. But as he gets further in, he stops. And, hold on, I'm going to have to ask if this is okay. So he'll stop, and he'll kind of give Imran a look, and then look at Tove, and after a minute he just kind of smiles at her, and then holding the bag of gold, he'll shake it pretty loudly. He'll just be like, you'll see him sort of look around, and he'll go, "Gee, it's just such a heavy bag of gold, and here I am without any hungry kids to give it to."
Wow.
And
Buying barrels down the street, and I hear gold.
Almost immediately, as soon as you shake the bag, you hear a little girl's voice pipe up and say, "Norshellus, what did you bring?" As this young little drow girl comes sprinting up to you. And will probably immediately try to just grab for the bag of gold.
It's like, oh, neat. This is mine now.
He will hoist it up above her head like, That's not what we say, now is it? He's clearly looking around like he's paranoid. He's like, okay, here's number 1. Now where's number 2?
Adira will like put her hands on her hips. She says, "Okay, give it to me now. Otherwise, I'll kick your butt."
Damn.
Narcellus is like, but you want all of it? You know that's not how this works, Adira. Although, that is the secret password. You are right.
I love this kid. This kid is great.
As you're speaking to Adira, there's another child who will attempt to sneak up behind you and probably just jump for your arm.
And he can take that arm, and it will sort of just, the bag will just fall out of his hand. He'll let it, and he's just like, "Oh, Zres, it's you, isn't it?"
Yeah, it's me. He'll then proceed to bite Marcellus.
You just hear like, "Oh, God, your teeth are getting sharp."
And these 2 little kids, as they come running up Tove, I mean, for all you can tell, they look like just drow kids. Adira is fairly young, very small. Zris is probably a little older than she is, as he is like a fair bit taller. As he's bitten down on Narcellus's arm, Adira will like reach in and grab the bag of gold. Or hopefully before Narcellus can grab it.
He'll kind of yell back at Tove and be like, "I'm being murdered."
She's gonna. I think she'll initially look horrified at the fact that this child is biting Narcellus's arm, but she also finds it incredibly funny, and she just starts laughing, hysterically, and she looks at the other child, and she's like, "You better take the bag before he."
And
is encouraging the thievery.
Imran as well is just sitting there next to Tove, also laughing his head off, finding this hilarious that he's been just bodied by 2 children. And so Adira just gives like a really toothy grin to Tove, and then she'll go to dash off, shouting, "Zres, come on!" And then Zres will like go to let go of Narcellus's arm to also take off after her.
Narcellus will grab the back of his shirt and just sort of haul him off of his arm, blood stringing off of his arm and all. He's like, "Oh, you little shit!" And he'll turn back toward Adira, and he's like, "Oh, I guess you don't want the necklace I brought you."
She'll like immediately skid to a stop and turn around, say, "You brought me something?" She'll come immediately running back over.
Alright. He's like, I'm gonna set you down, and you're not gonna bite me again. Right? No. Stop hissing at me, you little bastard! He just very, roughly just sort of sets him down, and he's like, "Oh, God." And seeing Adira come back over, he's like, "Alright, you know where that money goes, right?"
"Yes, I know."
Alright, he reaches around his neck and he pulls off the talisman to Ashmedai that was given to him by the orc back in Drakemount. And he dangles it. It's very shiny, nice and well engraved, and he dangles it over her head. He's like, "Now, I'm gonna give you this. And that way, the next time that you need me and I'm gone for a while, maybe you can barter it for something, right?"
"Okay."
And he'll let it drop after a minute, and he's like, "Now, you little ankle-biting freak." He just turns back towards Zres and points a finger at him, but then thinks back of it and sort of angles it upwards so it can't be bitten off.
Zres just has his arms crossed over his chest and kind of bares his teeth at him, just to growl a little bit.
And he's like, "Alright." He takes off the mantle around his shoulders that's got all of this hot heavy material. Not the feather collar, the fur collar he's wearing, but just this very ornate sort of spider web pattern cloak. And he's like, I think it's getting a little too hot for me to wear this, so why don't you take it? You always said you wanted some cool drow clothes, right?
Yeah! He'll gladly take it from him, which obviously it is far too big for this child. And he tries to hold it, but half of it is like dragging on the ground.
And after a minute of squatting down for a minute, he'll just sort of stand up and turn back toward Tove and be like, this is really all I came here to do. I hope you're not mad.
No, it's fine. And she'll just sort of like smile at the children and try her best to look like as non-threatening as possible, which is really easy for her because she looks like you could like knock her over with like a gust of wind. Like if that child bit her, she would be like on the floor. And she's just like, oh no, this is fine. Lovely to meet you two. Don't get into any trouble.
And Marcella's thinking about this for a minute, just turns toward Adira and Zarast is like, this is Tove. She's okay.
She's okay.
Adira will give like a small wave. Say, hi, Tove! Zarast will just kind of look at you suspiciously. He's debating whether or not to bite you.
Oh god. And Tove will wave back. Say, it's nice to meet you both. And just kind of give like Dress a little bit of a quizzical eye because she is also afraid that he is going to bite her.
And Marcellus will kind of just like make sure that both of his eyes are somehow on both of them at the same time. And I'll just be like, alright, Adira, you make sure that money gets to your dad, okay?
I will, Shellis.
Alright. Now, also, let him know I'll be back around the end of the Senite. I did promise I'd help him make another cane. Alright. Now, no biting people. I mean it.
Fine.
Alright. Get the hell out of here before I kick both of your butts.
They both just kind of like giggle and go like running off further into the fishing district.
He sort of just turns back toward Tove and looking specifically at Imran, he's like, shut up.
Imran like has that look on his face where he's trying so hard to like keep himself from smiling, but it's not really working.
It's
like
failure. He does not have the willpower.
It was just so cute. It moved my heart.
You're about to not have a heart.
I'm about to move your heart 6 feet under if you catch my drift.
Yeah. Yeah.
But looking back at Tove, he'll kind of wait a minute to make sure that the kids are gone, and he says, if Sturkin went anywhere in this city, it's going to be in this park. It's completely overgrown and run down. I've only lived here for maybe 10 months, but the only people you see come down here are soldiers waiting to drag somebody else off. So, it's certainly seedy enough for him.
I mean, do you think you'd know anybody who would maybe have seen him? I mean, I'm sure he's... Well, I mean, I don't know if he's a regular around this part of town, but...
I don't know anyone that would work with somebody up here carrying Drider venom. That's a death sentence.
Right.
Standing there awkwardly.
He looks at Imran. He's like, no. About you.
Yeah. Hi.
Am I right? It's around here somewhere, isn't it?
He'll kind of look around. Yeah, it's not that far. I think it's kind of more over towards, like, on the docks.
Alright, well, I don't have any sort of permission to go perusing that kind of shit, okay? They're bringing in their imports through loading out their exports. So, unfortunately, for you, we're probably going to need some kind of written permission. Let's...
You seem to be best friends with the butcher, so...
Hey!
What?
Watch your fucking mouth.
Jesus! God!
Okay.
I don't need you saying that kind of shit in this kind of an area.
We get
Wait.
jumped.
It's like,
Yeah.
fine, let's head over to the noble quarter and see if they'll let us in.
Okay.
Is that alright with you, Tove?
Oh, that's perfectly fine.
Besides, we might happen to catch up with everyone else.
Good idea. We'll probably need some backup with laughter stirring.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill him.
Okay, maybe let's not jump to murder as our first option. There
Tove,
is the general.
it's a
Yes.
figure of speech. It's a figure of
Oh,
speech.
okay.
Oh, okay. Well, you had me worried there.
Oh,
I was,
Alright.
I was,
Well,
was worried.
With that, he'll kind of just carefully place an arm kind of behind to help guide her back toward the temple square, which he glares at that building. And we'll head toward the big slope. The big slope.
yeah.
The big slope.
Very good. Excellent. So yeah. Awesome. Then you guys will head on out that way, and that then is going to be where we will end the session for tonight.